for the weekend after Minnesota Rocker beat Optic Chicago in a very, very close match in round 11 of the Search and Destroy in the 5th game. It lined up perfectly for the Minnesota Rocker and player accuracy, also known as Lamar, as he was able to get a 1v3 as all 3 players lined up and get the win. The big issue came after the match when the Minnesota Rocker Twitter account tweeted out a picture of the 4 players from Optic Chicago, distraught and upset, with tweeting it saying, "We are witnessing a breakdown brick by brick." Players from Optic Chicago as well as owner Hex did have some issues with it.
Stay in touch in the world of gaming with the Onside Radio E Report. It's time for Kai's Corner on OnsideRadio.com. To talk to Kai, dial 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. To reach out on the text line, it's 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. Here's Kai Chen Chisholm on your home for sports talk, OnsideRadio.com.
Good morning. Here at beautiful Drive Pink Stadium, I am that man. You can follow me on Twitter at Samurai Radio, 2 Eyes in Samurai. Of course, you can listen if you're on Podbean or if you're listening anywhere else on your favorite radio app. You can also come here and listen and watch on YouTube and come have a conversation with me. We have the Hour Show today. That'll be happening now every single Monday with Inside the Paint coming on, having their show going from 10 to 11 now. So then we'll come on Mondays from 11 to 12. Herman, thank you so much. I hope you have a great week as well. We have a lot, well, not too much that we want to cover strictly today. However, we are going to go over a few things that we want to talk about. Of course, we'll have our roundtable going through. We'll have a bunch that we're going to cover and get through. But we also have our polls for the day here. And if you're not already following me on Twitter, you can go ahead and do so. Of course, I decided to go forward today. There are a little bit of interesting polls, so I'm not expecting too much to come out of them, but some of them regarding some other things. The first poll of the day is expectations for Inter Miami CF Inter Miami this season are A, a playoff berth, B, a playoff win, or C, top of the East. So far, B leading the way on that one. The next one being, how are you feeling about the Victor Oladipo injury after more news that came out from 5 Reasons Sports this past weekend? Optimistic, meh, and injury after injury. Right now, meh leading the way at 56.5% of the vote. The other one is, could you kick a 40-yard field goal? I did have one initial vote come in for yes. I wish that they commented who they were. But so far, no is leading the way there. And then no one doing kickers aren't real people. I'm glad. I'd like to see that we have people that do believe in the brand as much as I do. And then the last one is, what's worse, Miami drivers or how long public subs take to make? Right now, leading the way is that going over there being Miami drivers. Pretty interesting stuff, and we want to just kind of get some stuff going. Again, we do have an hour today. We'll have on Martin Patel. He coming from Showtime, not 5 Reasons Sports now. Showtime, as he covers boxing, I believe it's Bellator. So he'll come on and talk to us about some of those fights that are happening on Bellator. But also the majority of the conversation is going to be on the Champions League. Of course, we have the 2 Champions League games coming on, the 4 Champions League games coming on in the next 2 days, and those will all feature pretty much 2 of them are really good matchups. The other 2, but 2 of them are pretty good. Tomorrow we'll know who's going into the semifinals between PSG Bayern and Chelsea Porto. Those will be pretty huge games, especially considering the fact that, Chelsea Porto shouldn't be a big game. It should be easy for Chelsea to kind of advance there. The big one will come for Bayern PSG because it is 3-2, 3 away goals for PSG. That's going to be a huge game. That tomorrow at 3 p.m. So that would be the one to watch tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, Liverpool versus Real Madrid. Real Madrid right now has a 3-1 lead. It would be shocking for Liverpool to come back from that. Especially considering that they do have the away goal, 1 away goal, but 3-1 compared to a 3-2, let's say in the PSG Bayern game, is a lot more difficult. You do get the 1 away goal, which is great, so you're kind of on a little bit of a better stretch, but now you have to get those home goals, so it's a little bit different in how soccer works. And then, of course, Dortmund, Man City, that one should be a big one. Dortmund does have 1 away goal. It is a 2-1 tie right now. So it should be interesting. We have some really interesting games coming through, and they should be fun to watch. So if you're not already into the soccer world or you enjoy watching them, I would encourage you to go ahead and watch the PSG Bayern game. That should be a very good game. And then Dortmund Man City. And what's funny is those are the two games that I said last week before they even took off. Those are the two games that I said were going to be the good games. So very, very happy that I was at least right. And the funniest part, too, is when I was talking about the Man City Dortmund game, I continued to say that, you know, it's a game that should be good, but it should. Right? There's always that, you know, it should be good, but it's soccer and things happen and, you know, things change. It should be a good game, though. You know, unless City went out there and just dominated the matchup, it should be a good game. And City kind of got dominated. I mean, it wasn't the best performance out of them. They really should have been, you know, they should be going into this right now, heading into Signal Iduna Park in Germany at a 2-2 tie with 2 away goals for Dortmund. Of course, a Jude Bellingham goal, and we'll ask Martin about that when he comes on next, what he thinks about that. But that Jude Bellingham goal should have been a goal for Dortmund. It should be 2-2 right now. Instead, it's only 1-2. And it still, you know, if you're City, you still have to be a little bit wary of how everything happens, because I have no doubt that they will score a goal in Germany. The only issue comes to, like, if they don't. Like, I don't think that they won't score a goal. I think they should and will score a goal in Germany at Signal Iduna Park. The only thing is can they hold Dortmund to not scoring anything? You know, if this goes 2-1 again, then that would be, you know, 3-3, 1 away goal for each side. We'd go into extra time. So it's very interesting. And as a lot of these games have been put, we're technically going into the second half. Like, when you think about it, because of these 2-leg fixtures, it's 180 minutes, 90 minutes each, unless you go into extra time. Right now, we're technically going into the second half of both of these games. So we're not at full time yet, so they should be interesting. I want to quickly touch on, because I know it's going to get away from me, so I want to make sure I touch on it here. I want to touch on our roundtable segment of the day. And for today's roundtable segment, it has to do with soccer as well. And today, I have to say, today's show, tomorrow's show, and Wednesday, unless a lot of really big things come out in the NBA, in the NFL, it's going to be a lot of soccer focus, especially, you know, these quarterfinals games are really important. So tomorrow we'll have maybe 2 segments really, really focusing on the games for the UCL, and then Wednesday we also will. And of course, Inter Miami season is starting this Sunday. They have their home opener finally. They were supposed to have their home opener, of course, against the Galaxy last year. Did not end up happening. But they have their home opener finally this Sunday. And Inter will play at 3 p.m. here at Drive Pink Stadium. Last year, they made the postseason through the play-in game but failed to advance. This year, there's no play-in game. And we're back to 7 teams per conference. Do you expect Inter Miami CF to end up in the top 7 of the East? Yeah, I say yes. I mean, we talked to Austin Robillard about this last week, and I think that without a doubt, 100%, they should be in the top 7. They were able to make it in the playoff, you know, play-in game, and of course, there were more teams that were going into the playoffs last year. But I expect this team to do that. You've had a lot more time under a new coach. It seemed, you know, the players that you've been able to get have been under the new coach as well. You've been doing trainings. It seems to be like everything is more together than it was last year. Of course, you don't have the huge break. You're not doing the MLS's back tournament in Orlando. I think there's a lot more now that you'll get out of the team than you did last season, and you can't really blame them. You know, in their inaugural season last year, to be in the sort of situation that they were in, I think it's a lot more difficult for a team like Inter, and they still made the playoffs considering everything that was happening around them. Now, I think with another, you know, with a year under their belt, with a new coach, you've had the ability to train with this coach for quite some time and, you know, kind of get into his philosophies, try to bring in players that go with his philosophy. I think things are more tight, you know, now than they were before, and I would expect them to be a top 7 team. I'm not saying that they're going to be like top of the East, but maybe 5, 6, or 7 would make some, you know, I expect them to make the playoffs, which is why, you know, it's a part of our poll. Is like, what are your expectations? I expect Inter to make the playoffs at the very least. Like that's what I set my expectations at, and I think that that's really what's going to end up being the goal. And what's going to happen is, I think at the end of the day, when all is said and done, the very bottom for Inter Miami should be at least making the playoffs, and then you go from there. And, you know, from that point also, you're going to have guys coming in the summer transfer window as well. So there's other things that you'll be able to do once the seasons in Europe are over. So there will be a lot. You know, you could try to get maybe a couple other signings here and there. Who knows how it can go. You know, the MLS is the MLS for a reason. You bring on some stars from Europe. So I would not be shocked completely if the team is in that top 7, and that's what I expect. I think they will end up there, and those are my expectations for the team this season, and hopefully a lot from our young guys, especially those who weren't as good as we were told or that we expected them to be last season. So that's what I want to say in there for that one, a part of our roundtable today. Again, I just think, you know, I'm expecting a lot from the team. That's kind of where I stand with Inter Miami, and maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a fan expectation, and I know that Austin is also expecting a lot. I don't expect like what we saw from the MLS Riders and how we pointed that out last week, how they have them, you know, Inter being very bad this season. I don't expect that out of the team. I just expect them to be a better team. I expect them to make the playoffs, and I think that that's going to inevitably happen, and I'll be excited for it. You know, I'm excited to watch this team play. We get that first opportunity on Sunday at 3 p.m., and hopefully it's going to be a good game. You know, last season, the game, it was just a weird game, right? Last year, that opening game that they had against LAFC, I believe is what it was. You know, it was just a very weird way to lose the game. You know, you had a chip goal from about just outside of like the 18-yard box. Like it just felt odd, but you're expecting that out of a team that's brand new to the scene. You're expecting that out of a team that not only so brand new, then had to deal with COVID. You know, there's not a lot that you can really go ahead and say, yeah, you know, everything's going to be completely fine, because that's just not, like, those aren't realistic expectations. However, I believe that the expectations for this season should be playoffs, and I believe that they will make it there. So we'll see. We're going to ask Martin when he comes on his thoughts as well, because I know that Martin has he has a lot of interesting opinions on not only just, you know, the soccer for the MLS, as do I, but also he has a lot of interesting opinions when it comes to like U.S. soccer. So I'm going to try to get as much with Martin as we can in terms of talking about U.S. soccer, the UCL. Of course, we're going to talk to him about some of the fights that are coming up for Bellator. And then we'll also, you know, try to talk everything we can with the MLS. So we'll have Martin Patel on next, again, from Showtime, not 5 Reasons Sports anymore. And we'll talk to him about all this stuff here. And we'll have some fun with it. I always like talking with Martin. Hopefully we'll also have, well, I don't want to guarantee anything yet. We'll kind of wait and see there. But we're going to have a good rest of the show and a great interview with Martin. So I'm excited for that coming up next. Saturdays from 1 to 3 p.m., baseball fans can go deep into the count with Alex Aguirre and Christian Chase. Catch the show that talks Marlins and all the big stories in the major leagues every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. Seamheads have a new home. Listen to Deep Into the Count exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan.
Let's raise a cup to the first among us who put themselves last. To the risk takers, the mask makers, the heroes on the front line and online. To the ones keeping shelves full and keeping us hopeful. To those who don't stop and those making all the stops. To the ones who pick up, suit up, and never let us down. From all of us at Duncan to all the heroes keeping everyone running, we thank you.
Inter Miami CF fans, join us at our new home this season for all away games as we broadcast live at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company, 1901 North Federal Highway in Pompano Beach. Join Big O and Alex Dono for the live pregame, halftime, and postgame shows while we watch the games. Enjoy meticulously brewed beer on site, delicious artisanal pizzas, live music, and giveaways. So, the new home for all Inter Miami road games is at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company at the Pompano City Mall, where they'll feature all the Inter Miami games. Follow them on Twitter at Dangerous Minds B and Facebook and Instagram at Dangerous Minds Brewing, and visit them at dangerousmindsbrewing.com.
Miami Dolphins fans can always count on the best coverage at OnsideRadio.com. Every week, keep up with your favorite team as Dolphins writer Omar Kelly joins us with exclusive reports. And when news breaks, catch the EJDConstruction.com Miami Dolphins report on the home for Dolphins fans everywhere, OnsideRadio.com.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com.
Hey, it's Big O. You know, air quality in your home or business is so important now, folks. That's why you've got to call M&S Air Conditioning. Let them install high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit that attracts, captures, and destroys biological contaminants to improve your air quality. M&S is always on call from 7:30 a.m. till 9 o'clock p.m. and, of course, emergency Sundays. Call for more info on high-efficiency air filters and their preventative maintenance plans. Visit M&S Air Conditioning at ac-florida.com.
Let's get back to Kai's Corner. You can send Kai a text at 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. Here's Kai Chen Chisholm.
All right, we're going to have on now Martin Patel. We will talk to him about all things soccer related, and I'm very excited for it. I enjoy talking with Martin, especially when it comes to soccer. It's much different than when we talk with Austin, because Austin is always very happy-go-lucky, and I feel like Martin kind of gives the unrealistic point of view as well. You can find him on Twitter at MartinBatedSP. Martin, we haven't spoken in a while. How are you doing, man?
Hey, Kai, unrealistic, huh? I can see the anger flowing through you after that Bayern loss.
Oh, no anger. No anger. I'm chilling.
No. Okay, so then some passive aggressiveness for sure, because I seem to be the collateral damage of your frustration.
So we'll get right into it then. I mean, I really don't think that this game is completely said and done. You think that it's said and done, or you think that it's going to actually be a game tomorrow?
Oh, hell no. It's not said and done at all. We've seen what Bayern Munich can do. I mean, they could have scored 5 goals if it wasn't for Keylor Navas. But the fact that you lost in Germany with 3 away goals, that doesn't bode well for you, buddy. I mean, Bayern Munich is in serious trouble. They can come back, but they're in serious, serious trouble. I would say not more trouble than Liverpool against Real Madrid, but serious trouble nonetheless.
I believe. Like, I don't look at it in too negative of a light, I think. I think when I think about the game, I've seen it happen so many times now with Bayern, and I've seen PSG do it so many times where they give up, big leads, that I'm not too worried. But we'll see how. I have no doubt that Bayern will score 2 tomorrow. It just depends on, can they limit PSG. I think for sure there's going to, at least, whether it's between Bayern or PSG, in total, I think there should be like 3 or 4 goals tomorrow. It just depends on how it swings for either team. I want to talk about the other game that's happening tomorrow, Chelsea-Porto. I know it's not really that big of a game. Chelsea should walk away with it. How do you feel now with Thomas Tuchel? He's been doing a pretty good job. He seemingly, barring anything crazy, will have Chelsea into the semifinal of the Champions League after they got destroyed last year by Legs in London and then in Lisbon. How are you feeling about Thomas Tuchel and this Chelsea side?
I love how you changed the subject so quickly. You went from like 2 minutes of Bayern to, hey, let's talk about Chelsea.
I have to ask.
I admire that, Kai. I admire your resourcefulness. That's what number one as a journalist. Steer away. In fact, no, you will be a good public relations person. Steer away from the painful topic you don't want to discuss, and let's talk about Chelsea, the 5th place team from the Premier League that just played Porto, the completely irrelevant team from Portugal. But, again, props. Very, very much. I got to give you props for that, because that was impressive. And, Chelsea is going to advance to the semifinals. I don't think they're going to be losing 2-0 or 3-1 or by 3 goals in England. And they really need this because right now, like I said, they're fifth in the Premier League and a point behind West Ham for the last Champions League spot. So it's kind of a do or die for Chelsea. But then again, what are the expectations for them, really? Are they going to defeat Bayern or Real Madrid? Are they going to pull off the upset of all upsets and become champions of Europe? I don't think so. But again, Chelsea making it to the semifinals is a success as long as they can qualify for the Champions League next year too. Otherwise, it's going to be a bittersweet taste for their fans and their manager, who is doing a good job overall. Of course, he's taking advantage of the draw he's given.
Yeah. Do you think that with Chelsea, it was more of issues happening with Frank Lampard? Because, of course, they've been playing better under Tuchel. Now, they've had a couple interesting games that didn't go their way, but overall, they've been playing better under him. The team in general on the pitch is playing better. Do you think that with club soccer in general, that there's an issue with legends becoming coaches and how you have these expectations? Of course, at Juventus, there's an expectation now. Most likely, Pirlo will be sacked. Lampard comes in, he's sacked. Do you think they should really just go the other way, like Xavi Alonso is going at Real Sociedad's second team, Steven Gerrard at Rangers, or do you think some of these guys can come into these positions at these big clubs that they were players for and make an impact?
I think, it's not a one-size-fits-all. Clearly, Lampard was over his head with Chelsea, but we've seen other coaches like Pochettino or like, I'm thinking, someone like, off the top of my head, I would say maybe if Xavi went to Barcelona right now, I think he will be successful. He's in Qatar right now, but it's not a one-size-fits-all. I think it depends on when they arrive at the team and how they do with expectations. But it's kind of like I am of preference of thinking that it's always better to start out without pressure to be able to learn, because you're going to make mistakes. So
right.
Make the mistakes you want in Qatar or in Real Sociedad or in Rangers, and then you're going to be able to make it to the big team. Simeone, who has been at Atletico Madrid for 7 years now and is a legend there, he, in 2008, had River Plate, one of Argentina's two most popular teams, be in last place. That was how bad it was for River that year. With Simeone as head coach, can you imagine Atletico Madrid finishing last in the Spanish league? No but
chance.
That happened to him. So it can happen to anybody. But having a first experience on the bright lights of a big team is always a big challenge, and it's not for everybody.
Okay, I want to move on past the Madrid-Liverpool game because I truthfully don't think anything of it. I don't think that Madrid should let that one go. It would be shocking if they did. Last week, I was saying that I thought that if any out of all the games, the one that had the potential to be a kind of an eyebrow raiser for fans outside of normal soccer watching is that the Dortmund Man City game. I just kept saying there's a small possibility. And I know I talked to Austin, I talked to a couple people, and they were just like, oh, man, Dortmund's dropping points in the Bundesliga. And I was like, yeah, I know, but there's just something there. Do you think that there's a chance that this game will be as tight as it was in the first leg, or do you think that City's going to score early and this game's just going to be over?
I think Haaland is going to score at some point, that's for sure. I mean, he kind of was quiet in the first leg, and I don't think he's gonna go out without putting up a fight. The big advantage that Dortmund has is the away goal that they got in the 84th minute, even though they lost in the in the throwing woes of that game.
Yeah.
The away goal is important because all you need is to score one and keep your clean sheet for the rest of the game. And if you look at the Bundesliga standings right now, Borussia Dortmund only has 41 goals against in 28 matches. That's pretty good considering Bayern has 36, for example. Obviously, they're not Red Bull Leipzig with only 23, but it's a good average that makes me think that they could keep a clean sheet against City and advance. I don't think that they will win by 2 or more. I think City is too tough for that. But one a 1-0 score with a goal by Haaland. I can see that happening.
As it currently stands, who do you, and I want to get into some MLS stuff in a second here, and then we'll get into the Bellator fights as well. As it currently stands, how we are now, if you had to pick one of these 8 teams to move on and win the UCL, who would that team be?
That's a tough one because I would have gone with Bayern, but with the result that they had, I'm kind of shaky on it. So I'm gonna say that right now you gotta go with Real Madrid. The way they played against Liverpool last week, they were just lethal, and they just won the Clásico against Barcelona, undeservedly. Yes, Barcelona should have tied it up. That match was crazy with the shot in the crossbar in the 94th minute and almost blowing a 2-0 lead at home. But I think they have the best chance if Bayern doesn't come back against PSG in France. I can't go with PSG because they haven't proven they're a championship team. Same with Manchester City. I'm gonna believe it when I see it with them. So by default, because I don't think Chelsea is a championship team, and because City and PSG have not come up clutch when they have needed to for the past 10 years, I gotta go with Real Madrid, the team that has won 3 Champions Leagues in the past 10 years.
All right, and then let's get into the MLS quickly here, and then we'll, of course, get into the fights. What are your expectations for Inter Miami this season? That's been kind of the main question today. It's going to be our main question throughout the day here at Onside. I know you probably differ from Austin and probably myself as well, but as you look at the team as it's constructed, do you think that they should make the playoffs this season?
I think that they better make the playoffs this season. I mean, it's not that tough to make it in the MLS to begin with. I expect Gonzalo Higuain to score more than 1 goal in the season. That's also something I expect. And I expect the team to have a more cohesive idea about what they want to do, both offensively and defensively. I expect the team to have an identity. That to me will be the biggest stride, regardless of whether they make it to the MLS Cup or not. If they have an identity, they will make the playoffs. If they have an identity, Gonzalo Higuain will score lots of goals. And if they have an identity, then David Beckham will have a path to follow with the team and not have to make as many changes as he did from one season to the next, both at the managerial level, at the player level, and also with the way that the team's structure is set up right now.
Okay, so tell me, Martin, about some of the fights that you have coming up. I know that this is a new job that you have and you've been doing. What are some of the things that people can see, and where can they find them?
Well, yeah. I mean, right now I'm working with Showtime and PBC as a consultant, and we have a Bellator MMA fight going on this Saturday. And you can watch it on Showtime. You can have your 30-day free trial of Showtime, and then only $49 a month for the next 6 months. And it's really interesting with Bellator. What they're doing is a Grand Prix, which is like a World Cup or like the Davis Cup in tennis, actually, where you have a bracket tournament like the NCAA tournament that goes through the year, right? Right now, they're in the quarterfinals. They're great fights. They are full of action and really can't miss, and a really diverse field, too, with American fighters, Cuban fighters, Japanese fighters. Brian Bader just beat Lyoto Machida last Saturday on a great fight. So I mean, it's really interesting because it's not like boxing where it's a one-off fight. You have 16 of the best fighters in the world trying to get the crown at the end of the year, and it's a grind really, but it's great. And like I said, you can watch it on Showtime, 30-day free trial, only $4.99 a month. After that, for 6 months, and then on the boxing side, we have a really good fight as well for this Saturday. Perella against Harrison. That's gonna be in LA at the Shrine Auditorium, and that's gonna be on Fox. You're gonna have the former WBC super welterweight world champion Harrison against Brian Perella, and it's the main event of the super welterweight fight on Fox and on Fox Deportes in Spanish this Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.
it's funny because when you brought it up to me,
8 p.m. Eastern. Sorry, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Okay. when you were telling me about the Bellator stuff, the name, and I'm not really big into like MMA, UFC, boxing, anything like that. But I remember the name because I believe that there's a fighter that fights for or with Bellator. I don't know if it's for or with. His name is Keith Lee, and he has a huge popular TikTok account, which is basically just him cooking. And I had no idea that he did any sort of MMA or anything. But he had put it up once, and I was just like, oh, that's super interesting. Then that's the only reason I remember when you told me, I was like, oh, I know what this is because I know of this one person. Have you heard? I mean, I don't know if you, because I think he's injured or something. Have you heard of him before?
Of Keith Lee? No, I've heard of him. I haven't heard of his TikTok account, but that's really interesting. The way that athletes are connecting with fans in unexpected ways, where they can reach out beyond the conventional interview, beyond the single post on Twitter. And I love that they're being creative because they are also allowing fans to see a different side of them, a fan side of them. So, I hope he gets to come back soon and just, Bellator has great fighters. It's something that's growing each and every day. And like I said, on Showtime, we have a fight this week. We had a fight last week. We're going to have a fight the week after that, too. It's really 2021 is going to be full of action there with Bellator in a tournament that's only going to get more intense as the film narrows and the intensity just heightens more and more.
All right, Martin. Well, thank you so much for coming on, man. I look forward to talking with you again soon, especially when the UCL comes back up for the semifinals. I know that we'll talk, and hopefully my Bayern are in it. Again, you can find Martin on Twitter at Martin Patel SP, and you can follow him there and see all his stuff from soccer, both in Spanish and English, and of course everything happening with the fights. Martin, thank you so much, man.
Like I remember, it's gonna be okay. Even if the worst happens with Bayern Munich, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna win the Bundesliga for the 10th straight time.
Get him off, Sean. Get him off. I can't hear this. He's making me sad. All right, start your morning every day at 8 a.m. with 4th and 20 with Toast and Marsh. The boys cover all the local sports stories while providing some great Miami Hurricanes insight. Download, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast 4th and 20, 8 to 10 a.m. only at OnsideRadio.com.
Now streaming online.
Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan.
There are those who dedicate themselves to a sense of honor, to a life of courage, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. They have always defended this nation and each other. They still do. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Howdy, stranger.
Didn't this used to be Radio Town?
Yes, sir. It was Miami Sports Radio Town one time.
Who in the hell are these cowboys I never saw?
We don't know who these people are, riding in from other towns. There used to be a host in every one of these saloons, trying to talk about local matters, sports.
That ain't good, stranger. Could you tell me how this happened?
Well, it started when one corporation bought another, and they got rid of the good management and brought in a bunch of bumbling idiots and started firing all the local ranchers and replaced them one by one with these strangers from out of town.
I've heard that story before. Static and tumbleweeds, I'm moving on.
South Florida's choice for sports talk. OnsideRadio.com.
I'm 54, so basically, it's too late to start saving for retirement, right?
Not right. Starting to save, even in your 50s, can really make a difference.
Well, right now, saving seems hard to wrap my head around. Plus, with the way this year's been going...
Hey, listen, it's okay. You still got this. Just go to aceyourretirement.org. It's an online tool from AARP that can help you get your retirement savings on track no matter your age. It's free and only takes about 3 minutes.
I like 3 minutes.
Yeah, at aceyourretirement.org, you'll chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach. Just answer a few questions and you'll get a personalized plan and tips to help boost your retirement savings. Tips that are easy to understand and tailored to your lifestyle.
I like that too.
Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back. Just head to aceyourretirement.org and make your plan to start saving for retirement.
Thanks.
That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Riddle me this. With all this sizzling meat and crunchy veggies nestled between toasty flatbread, who should get credit for Papa John's new papadilla? The person who invented pizza or the person who invented folding? Well, whoever it is, a tip of the tongue hat to you, sir or madam. Get a new papadilla, 4 flavors, just $6 each. Better ingredients, better pizza, better than a sandwich. Papa John's.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
The Miami Heat beat the Portland Trail Blazers 107-98 last night. Bam Adebayo had 22 points. Jimmy Butler added 20. Their next game tomorrow night against the Phoenix Suns, tip-off 10 p.m. Florida Panthers, they lose their 3rd straight game over the weekend, 4-1 to Dallas. They remain in Dallas for a game tomorrow night. Puck drops at 8:30. And the Marlins, they won one on Saturday, game suspended Sunday. Tonight, they open up in Atlanta against the Braves. First pitch, 7:20. Santi Alcantara on the mound, and Hideki Matsuyama is your 2021 Masters champion. And speaking of champions, Kai's Corner coming up next. This is South Florida's home for local sports talk. This is OnsideRadio.com.
To Kai's Corner. You can send Kai a text at 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. Here's Kai Chen Chisholm.
All right, so it was great talking with Martin Bater there. Talking a lot of soccer. It's been a very majority of a soccer show today. And I mentioned to him the Bellator fighter that I know of. And I was right. It wasn't UFC. It was Bellator, and he's a bantamweight fighter. He's
What was his name?
Keith Lee. He's 7-4, 7 wins, 4 losses. So I don't know if in the box. I don't know if that's. I don't know. Obviously, you have 4 losses, so it's not fantastic. But I don't know how that works in terms of.
No, it depends who the competition is.
Yeah. But I just know of him because he started a TikTok, and it was all based on him cooking meals for him and his wife, and I thought it was super interesting. So I just, I continued to follow him, and then I had found out that he was a fighter. His brother is also a fighter, I believe. I can't remember his brother's name, but his brother's also a fighter, also with Bellator. So I thought that was super interesting. Like, it's super cool. He's from Vegas, and he's 2-1 in his last 3. His last fight was November 19th, where he lost in decision in round 3. So, yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I thought it was awesome being able to sit there and, it was always, I think, okay, so there's a lot in here, and this is going to be around some social media stuff pretty much. Like, of course, a lot of people aren't very keen on TikTok, and I think it's not only just, like, myself, like some of the younger generation, I guess it's also a lot of the older generation, because there's a lot of worries with TikTok. Like, TikTok is a lot of weird things. A lot of weird stuff happens on TikTok. And on top of that, it's also not, like, the most trusted app in the world. neither is, Facebook and all those other things. So it's not really like the greatest app to have on your cellular device. So that's one of the big major things that goes with TikTok. But I think I find it, there's a lot that I find on there that I don't see on Twitter unless it gets, posted by Twitter. I mean, right now on I have Twitter open, and there is a Twitter account that's posting a TikTok video that I saw already like 3 days ago. So that stuff does happen. But I used to go on like Twitter to find my very interesting content and funny videos and sit there and, have a good time and enjoy myself. I don't really find a lot anymore on Twitter. Like, a lot of them have kind of, and maybe it's also because I moved my Twitter into being a little more professional, because a lot of the stuff that I would see was really not professional at all. So maybe that's why. It's because a lot of my content has been catered more towards that. But I find it really interesting. I don't know. And that whole thing, it's like I just found him one day. He was making food for him and his wife in an air fryer. I can't remember exactly what it was. And I was like, damn, that's awesome. Like, this dude who's just sitting there and, enjoying it. And every